Show me how I can love, rise above, and like
You're
you
large and in charge. It's not large.
hold me captive.
Can't tell if it's now or not because remember Twitch lags.
Don't break a leg, Miss Giggles.
Okay. Alright. So welcome streamers to the hour-long interview with KSI Fuzzymeep 7. I am KSI Miss Giggles. I am a first captain in Anarchy WI. Along with me, of course, we have our CEO. We have our production head, co-production head, Illusion 7. We have KSI Hulkster. KSI Hulkster, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, oh crap. Oh, it's working. Alright. Yeah, KSI Hulkster. I am a second lieutenant over in Genesis DR. I used to be KSI Southern 7 in DL. I was the co-division leader over there. So, yep, hope y'all enjoy.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm KSI Fuzzymeep 7, formerly known as KSI Fuzzymeep. And I'm the CEO. And we're going to do a fun interview, and this will be starting off a series of interviews. I don't think we're going to do a monthly or every couple of weeks or whatnot, but we're going to try to get through a lot of interesting folks in KSI. So hopefully we do a good job for the first one.
Okay, and for every streamer out there that is watching this, if you see KSI Illusion's mic light up, but you cannot hear him, that is perfectly normal.
He's mute.
He's unable to be heard on the stream, but he's there. Okay. So to start off, a lot of people really want to know, how did you get the name Fuzzymeep?
Well, I usually tell people that I have no idea, but that's not entirely true. Yeah, we got it. I don't know if it was an Xbox created name back on Halo 1 on the original Xbox. Because I've been using it since about 01, or my older brother, who is Fuzzymeep 2 on Xbox, claims that he made up the name, but I think he's full of shit, because otherwise he wouldn't be Fuzzymeep 2, and I'm Fuzzymeep 1. I don't know. I know it came from getting Halo 1 on Christmas in 2001. And the name, I couldn't tell you. I had no idea. It means nothing. It probably just sounded funny to me, being 11 years old at the time, or 10. I wish I had more. I wish there was some intricate story, but yeah, it's just a cool name. And something I was told when I first joined KSI was just never change your name, because it's easier for people to remember you from, years back and whatnot. I've always just had this ever since I got on Halo 2 on Xbox Live.
That is interesting. Some people just come up with their gamer tags out of the blue.
Yeah.
So that some people come up with it from nicknames with their friends and stuff. So, I mean, gamer tags are gamer tags. How did you get started off in KSI?
Well, back in April of 08, I was playing Halo 3 on Avalanche. Remember that? It was me and my buddy Motorman. Motorman ended up being in KSI for a while too. And we were gaming with two KSI guys. They were friends of a friend. Knew who they were. At the time, they were KSI Death Den and KSI Space. And realistically, didn't really invite me to join or anything. They just were kind of shitheads. And they like bragging that they were a general of a squad, in charge of people, and they were better than Halo than me and my buddy Mogar. So naturally, what people did back in the day, before host booting became as much fun as it is, we just kicked their ass in Halo over and over again. And then KSI Death then offered me a free 1 month if I joined KSI, only so I could boost him on Halo 3. So I joined KSI to boost my then major with a brand new account. So kind of not good. I mean, people got in trouble for that back in the day, but I don't think you really do it anymore. But back then, if you had a new account, they would put you really low ranks. So you could help a person with like a 30 or a 35 who was trying to get a 50. So then I joined. Well, then I played with them for a while. Got my tag. I joined April 26th, 08. I know, like, I just had my 8-year anniversary, 7-year anniversary. I'm on my 8th year. And my major in general were just such dinks, and I really didn't like them. But there was other cool people in there, and that's where I met, like, KSI Apollyon. I met a couple guys like KSI JVav, who was just like an annoying squeaker. And within, like, I was brought in as third captain. Again, just completely against the rules, just because they liked me and they didn't really run a squad very well. And within a month, they quit, made their own community. For whatever reason, I didn't join. I didn't know anyone else. I only knew them, but they quit. So fuck them. And I stayed and got general, and then got demoted for semi-midget. That's like my first trek in KSI. I was being brought in for boosting someone, being promoted to third captain right away, and getting promoted within a month, not knowing what I was doing, and getting demoted. It was fun.
First joining and already breaking code of conduct.
Oh yeah, it's, you know, I have to learn the hard way every time. Granted, I'll argue to this day, midget's not derogatory, especially because I was talking about a girl that I was dating at the time, who wasn't a midget, but she was like 4'10", 4'11", so she was on the cusp. And for whatever reason, Apollyon, who I later became very good friends with and worked on the senior team with, was the division leader, and he just thought it was offensive for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe he knows some short people in his life, but he found it reason enough to demote me, so.
Interesting. Along the lines of your story, I've noticed on your profile how you've gone from private to CEO. What are some of the big events and achievements that you've gone through to get up to CEO that you think is worth the big moments of surprises?
I get a few. I'll be honest, when really my trek from private to director was essentially uneventful. I mean, I went through a lot and did a lot of things, but I moved up the ranks real fast. Nothing like truly stands out that hardcore for me. Outside of getting promoted to, this is going to make me sound even douchier, but I was a co-founder, and I was looking over 3 squads, and this is just, it was so disorganized back then. And I got brought into a party by my founder, my division leader, Javelin, or was a KSI Admiral then, Hypnotic was the senior, Army Ace was the director. And then, you know, they go through the spiel, well, you know, we've had some problems with you recently, and we're going to have to change your rank to founder. And they promoted me, and, you know, not knowing that I was getting promoted, the way they built it up, I thought I was getting demoted. I instantly told them fuck off, and I shut off my Xbox. Then I got a call, and he said, you're an idiot, get back online, we're promoting you. But then they go on and on, and say, well, you did such good work with these squads, and they label them off. And in my head, I'm like, well, that's only 2 of the 3 squads I was looking over. I was supposed to be looking over the 2 squads I was over and a 3rd one, but apparently I had misheard at one point or another that I was supposed to be looking over. I think it was Assassins. And I was looking over a different one, who another co-founder was supposedly overlooking. There's a reason he got demoted. But apparently, the 3rd squad that I just never looked at did fine, and I got the credit for it. So I got promoted, so that was fun. But then nothing really happened. I mean, I went through positions. I was, what the hell was I? Oh, I was public informations officer for a while, which was nothing really. We tried to help get off the ground. We had some pros in KSI who were charging people to train them on how to play like Halo 3 back. And we got like a live streaming service up for that. I don't think it ever actually took off or made any money or anything. And then I was in the division, Semperfi. That's like my baby division. I was recruited in Firestorm, but I always loved Semperfi. And Semperfi closed, which bummed me out. And after about a month of begging, the senior director, Hypnotic, he finally allowed me to become a director. Again, so ass backwards. I was, you know, I was like a co-div or a div when I left Clan Ops, and I came back as a director to open a dead division. And it had gotten close when I wasn't around. So I came back and I opened Semperfi. And it was awesome. First squad, remade Assassins. Second quad, made KSI Fuzzball SF. which was one of the longest-lasting squads in all of KSI. It was probably like 3-4 years before some bitch named KSI VVD took it. Not that I think she's around anymore, but she took the squad and lost the information. But so the biggest moment then was we got our forums account. After maybe 2-3 months, whatever it was, we got to 200 people and we got our own forums account. And that was like, you know, you've officially become a division. And that was truly like just epic to me. And that really got us going. I mean, we had real cool people in Semper Fi. We had like a kid named Mexican Dro and a kid named Black Dave, who constantly bickered. We had a guy named Megatron and Dill Pickle, who were like a father-son combo, and they were both monotone and just wretched but awesome people. A kid named KSI Lee, who was with Firestorm and me for a long time. There was just so many people. It was just like such a close-knit family, and I loved all of SF. And it was just so deranged, and I don't mean to get sidetracked, but at one point in SF, I might have been a director or a senior at this point, still overwatching them, and we had a topic in our forums area, and it was called the Semper Fi Recipe Book. And in that topic, we had many, many recipes, all revolving around either like making alcoholic drinks or like making pot brownies and pot butter and other things to do with marijuana. And it was the most ridiculous thing, because KSI is obviously very anti-drugs and like that. We're all like 16, 17, 18 at the time. And a couple leaders, including Bill, 77, posted in that topic and said, wow, this is cool. Glad you guys are doing this. Something stupid and generic, but it was just so obvious that none of them have actually read the conversation at all. They just saw the name of the title and were like, ooh, that's a cool recipe. It was like 2 pages of just horrible, illegal drinks for our age or for everyone. It just absolutely ridiculous. But moving on, SF, great, loved it. Probably the next
what
big...
What does SF stand for?
Semper Fi.
I couldn't... There we go. Okay.
Probably the next biggest accomplishment was after United... I got like 2 more that were like really significant. After United left, because of whatever, there's a whole backstory of treachery to that even I don't know the truth to. But United left. A lot of the hate came on me and a person named KSI Tex. I bounced too. I came back after about 2 months. I got like my Fire 1 done and stuff, and was in my EMS class. So I came back, and KSI was at 200 people. This is the beginning of 2010. It was just terrible. So I got put back on the board, and then I went and became a co-founder and rebuilt the division from scratch and moved to the ranks director. And then when it was time, I thought I was getting senior, I got promoted to chief of staff, and that was like a big landmark. That was all I ever wanted to be in KSI was chief of staff. I didn't care about COO, CEO, none of that ever mattered. I just wanted to be chief of staff because I always loved clan ops. That was my thing. And obviously I propelled beyond that. And then I mean probably making this website, having the first Spirit Week. You know, every other time, because I was CEO at the time, that everything went down on the old website, which involved the chairman breaking the code of conduct, his second in command, Sanders, sitting in a party telling all the board that I was going to get blacklisted for something stupid. He was making up lies, basically because I had told the chairman that he was racist for a comment he made. And then they all pretty much, the board told Sanders to fuck off. Worst player brought the idea of making a new website and just firing the chairman, because that's what a board does. They hire and fire the chairman, CEO, whatever. And that's what we did. And this is the first time in a long line of CEOs and leaders that have been fired for no reason, including, but not limited to, Raise Drake, Adidas, Black Ghost, Shoddy. I mean, at least 20 different people. This is one of the first times that everyone just stepped up and said, no, you're not firing this person for your ridiculous beliefs. So I went to the website, and every single board member except one came over here, every single senior leader, and every single division except one came to this site. And we kind of celebrated with Spirit Week that year, and Spirit Week was the first year. It was exhausting. It was 7 days, not what we do now, 5. And by the end, we were just miserable. And we call it a Spirit Week hangover for the board and the seniors and everyone involved with it every day. But that Spirit Week just just the best, absolutely the best. It was incredible. And since the last 2 years have been awesome too, don't get me wrong, but the first year was like mind-blowing how much we had accomplished as a collective group. So, alright, I'll stop being long-winded on one question and answering like maybe 7 or 8 in the list. But yeah, there's been a few different milestones for me. A few different milestones for KSI that just helped us get where we are today.
We liked, and that is what we like to see. Hope, do you have a question?
Yeah. So this question is coming from an actual senior director as of right now, KSI Huckleberry 7.
Oh boy.
What are things that you look for within leader-wise in KSI?
When you're first coming up the ranks, common sense is just like, it seems like such an obvious answer, but it's so needed, and a lot of people just don't seem to have it, or don't channel it at the right times, or let their emotions or anger get the best of them, and that cripples a lot of people. But definitely, like, just common sense, and just knowing what you're doing, having confidence in yourself. If every once in a while, if I hear of someone doing something, or, you know, I'll get a message that a division, in theory, let's say, the day we unranked, suspended, unblacklisted a community, I'm not going to say what community, it doesn't matter what division, it was probably like a year or so ago, we unblacklisted a community that we've had blacklisted for a long time, and that night, a division sent out a message, security risking that clan. So obviously, I was like, well, we just unblacklisted these people. I hope there's a good reason. We get into the party, and I wasn't going to tell them to unsecurity risk this clan. I just want to know why. The person was upfront with me, told me this, and this. That's the reasons. And he sold his reasoning for it. Of course, then he said, that's fine, just, if you're going to do this, keep it to your division. We're trying to change the outlook on some things right now, and because a few people fluffed feathers, that sucks. We could fix that. But all I wanted was I just want to be informed. Someone to tell me with confidence, this is the reason why we're doing it. I did A because of B, and B because of C, and that's what happened. And definitely that in the lower ranks, you need to do that. You need to be able to sell your ideas and what you're trying to do. And then as you get in the higher ranks, director, which isn't around at the moment, senior director, admin, global mod, board member. And I think this goes for me just as long as pretty much all the others in KSI. You need to be trustworthy. That's like, again, it all goes with common sense, that goes with confidence, that goes with intelligence, that goes know what you're doing. But it's always about being trustworthy. If I can't trust you, I don't want you making decisions for the entirety of the community. Because you just can't. You could be the greatest leader in the world, and you could have built 10 divisions, beautiful, 1,000 members of peace, fucking amazing. 10,000 people in KSI because of you. But because you fucked over that 1 or 2 people, and you lied to them, and you were deceitful and dishonest, it's very difficult for me to want you to be a part of this community. Now again, some people make mistakes. It's not a big deal. And I'm known for giving people 2 chances, and sometimes a little more liberal with that. Sometimes I'm not. A little more strict, but you just got to be a trustworthy person. You'll be able to sit down at a party like this, and I need to feel that you're being honest with me, and I'm being honest with you. But at the end of the day, that's all that matters. All in here, there's no skin color, there's no religion, there's nothing. It doesn't matter where you live. You're just a voice. So all I can do is trust you on your word that you're going to do something, or that something happened and you're being honest about it. There's no handshakes, there's no contracts. It's just your voice, just your word. And that's big. That's really big with me when it comes to the upper echelon. And I hope that's the same way with the lower ranks. As far as generals promoting captains, I know it's a little different because you don't get to know the person that much. By the time someone makes it to the board or senior director, if not me, someone on the board or someone in the admin team has known these people for years. But even so, you know a bullshitter when you see one. That's something that
basically honesty is a big part in leadership-wise.
absolutely.
Okay. All right, let's move on. This question.
Jack. Okay, go for it.
Oh.
Go for it. I was gonna bring it back to history for a bit.
Okay. This question was asked by many people, many members in KSI, including myself. What plans do you have for this year of 2015 and next year of 2016? Any hints on up and coming?
Well, there's definitely a lot of plans. There's a lot of importance being placed on cleanups, which it always should be, but we're placing a lot more on cleanups. Just really trying to develop the best of the best that we can get. Because in the last few years, at one point, you know, we expanded. We were at 6,000 people in that time, but we rose so quickly that all of a sudden, you know, instead of having 10 divisions with 10 great leaders, we had 15 divisions with 12 or 13 great leaders. So we saw some problems there, which kind of catapulted themselves. So we're trying to look back and for the next year or two, and realistically for the rest of KSI, I would have a huge importance on cleanups and just developing the right leaders, getting the lead program up, which it is, you know, and it's very important that all the qualities that I listed off before are being found and those members are being promoted and are within the confines of KSI. But as far as projects, we're doing the history project right now, which is going to take a while. It kind of started last year. I put my history up. APOC, there's a lot of people put their history up. And basically, we kind of want to make a very conglomerate form of KSI's history to be used on a wiki or something. And basically, instead of just one person filling out, well, this was what happened in 2009, my theory was, and which now KSI Gandhi, who's an old school Semper Fi member, stuff like that, is running, is if I tell a story about 2012, and the Hulkster tells a story about 2012, and Illusion does, and Giggles does, and it's all somewhat intertwined with each other, then we can find all the facts that actually happened in that said event, maybe Spirit Week, maybe whatever. So I don't want someone to write down in, because there's no way one person can remember a chunk of history or a certain event or a certain time. There's just no way. Or bias will come into play. It doesn't matter what happens. But if 10, 15, 20 people all tell their same stories in their same time within KSI, we're going to find the right ideas and the right facts that have happened in that event and actually get the most truthful story out of it. So that's what we want to kind of develop a history going back to the beginning all the way to the end. Well, not the end, but now. And we've got a lot of old people who've already written up some histories that have submitted them. And we've talked to other KSI about getting some of the old leaders, like there's a guy KSI Big BT runs their community, and very cool dude. And he's obviously going to help us out with that. Same with people like old people like KSI Slayer, KSI, Jesus, I mean, there's just so many of them. Ray's Drake, who I mentioned is one of the CEOs that got fired earlier. A lot of these people have extensive history, and not to mention we have people like Herbs, who is not seen in the best of light by some people, but Herbs has been here for about 10, 11 years. APOC's been here for 10 years. Me and Rag both been here 7, 8 years. So we can help confirm and deny a lot of things, along with plenty of other people who may have not been in the top echelon that have just been here for years. So the history project's a real big one I'm working on. There are obviously Spirit Weeks coming up, and that's going to definitely be a doozy this year. We had a lot of fun last year. It's going to be pretty much the same game plan, except this year we have Xbox One, which will add a lot more fun and probably difficulties and whatnot. Like, I'd love to see the Master Chief Collection be played on there, but I know there's continuous problems with like custom games and stuff, so I hope all that's fixed by then. So we definitely got a lot of plans and projects, but basically, I mean, number-wise, 2016, I don't care. If we're at the same exact numbers we are now, and we got activity and people are happy in gaming, awesome. We got 1,000 people, but we have the best 1,000-member KSI we've ever had. That's all I want. It doesn't matter. That's definitely our plan, is just working on ourselves. working on our base, our foundation, and other things on the side. Obviously, the lead's going to keep running, hopefully continue to expand. AAP, always going to be there, doing great. Hopefully the courts doesn't have to be used as much. History is going to be going. So that's all we can really hope for.
So, as much as I can agree with all that, I have asked a couple of my friends, and this question has come from KSI Ripper. This can also go along the lines with KSI Airborne 7th question. Ripper has asked who's had the biggest impact on you in KSI, as to where Airborne has asked what member has mentored you throughout your history. They can go along the same lines, but that has caught my eyes. I would like to know.
Who's impacted me and who have I impacted?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to say that I never truly had one single mentor. Some people can attest that this person told them everything in the world, and I don't really have that. I have a few different people. My biggest one, just without a doubt, is KSI Apollyon 7, the guy who demoted me for saying midget, ironically. A few years later, we worked together as senior directors and ran cleanups together. And he taught me so much. But one of the best things he ever taught me was not to yell. He was always very quiet, and I always considered him very mousy. But I found out why. He always told me, don't yell, because if you talk quietly and people at the party want to hear you, they'll stop yelling back or screaming or whatever. They'll quiet down to listen to you, and that shows you how much power you have in that party. If you go into a party and you try to talk quietly and try to fix the situation and no one can listen, leave the party because they don't care what you have to say. And that was one of the biggest things I ever learned, and I even use that this day. And I can't say that I haven't yelled since then in KSI. It has been probably half dozen times, but previous to that, it was very regular to hear me loud and swearing. I still swear, but swearing is more of a passive phrase now instead of angry. And then another person would be KSI Spider, who's a great guy, old senior leader. He's doing all the MLG events. He's been up. He's still around every once in a while. He popped on here a couple months ago, and he was I think a moderator for a while. And very cool dude. Love Spider to death. I've met him a few times, him and his wife. They're awesome people. I've met him when I go down to Gettysburg for the National Fallen Firefighters Memorial every year. And I've met them twice, and the person KSI Techs 3 times. And they've always been just awesome to hang out with. But Spider taught me that every problem can wait till tomorrow. I was the person, because when I was a senior director, I was in high school. I was 17, 16, 18, whatever. So I had to be up at 5 in the morning, but I'd be on till 1, 2, 3 o'clock at night trying to fix stupid things, but he told me everything can wait. Literally everything can wait when it comes to KSI problems till the next day. Don't lose sleep over KSI. Don't miss too many parties over KSI. And don't miss out on sex over KSI. And those are the 3 things that he was like, boom, I've been here for a while, these are things you need to know. And those have always just stuck with me throughout the years. But other people, Black Ghost, we had a falling out when he was a year ago. But before that, very cool dude, learned a lot from him. And a guy named Ray's Drake, who, again, I've brought up his name up 3 times now. He drove me nuts. Ray's literally drove me batshit crazy. There was a time where I was COO and he was CEO, and we literally had a 5-hour argument over nothing because he wanted me to write, pretty much write up a document every week saying what happened in KSI that week, and he wanted it to cover each division, each leader. And when you got 15 divisions, hundreds of leaders, it was just insane. And we just had crazy arguments over that, and that was pretty much the only time we really had a screaming match. But he was the person who really helped me get from director to senior. He helped me a lot when I first became chief of staff, and he showed me a lot of how to be a CEO when I eventually took his job. Yeah, and he was definitely, I learned a ton from him, and it's ridiculous. Again, absolutely drove me batshit crazy, but I love the guy to death. And there's still, there's a ton more. I can go on for about hours. Even Rags. Rags been here just a touch longer than me. He was a little higher up in the ranks before me, and he's taught me a lot over the years. APOC, even Jess and Chaos have taught me a tremendous amount. And, I mean, I still think of them as new members. They've fucking been here for like 5 years now. It's insane. And Lucy, whatever. Never mind. I take Lucy's name back. But Worst Player taught me what not to do. And I was going to say that about Lucy, but he didn't really tell me what not to do, because I already knew what not to do because of Worst, because as much as Worst Player would hate for me to say this, and Lucy, they're essentially the same person, except one's British. I think I could stay in a party with Lucy a little longer than Worst, but I definitely had a lot of individual mentors over different areas. And, I mean, people I've helped, I don't know. I'd like to say as many people as possible. I know I've helped some people. I could tell you people who were under me for a long time. Gandhi, Airborne was under me for a long time. Airborne I met as a squeaker. When I met him, and he was still in Halo 2 squad, and I taught him his first FTLA class. And I like to think I helped Airborne a lot out, going through KSI. And Gandhi was a little older. Probably still need a little help. I probably need a little help from him too. But I definitely worked with him a lot. And there was a lot of people. And the number one person, though, is someone I mentioned earlier. His name's Black Dave. And whatever, it sounds fucked up because, you know, I don't know, Baltimore, Ferguson, all that ridiculous shit. We called him Black Dave because we had Mexican Dro. And it just made it simpler because whatever, Semperfi, again, was a fucked up place. But when I first met him, he was younger. I don't know, I recruited him when he was like 13. And I helped him out a lot. And he got into like drugs at one point. It was shitty. It was sad. Definitely talked to him many long nights. And I just did anything I could to help him out, and I always got him out of trouble when he constantly got himself. I definitely know I helped him in KSI. His life, I don't know. He's still out of his fucking mind. But KSI-wise, I definitely tried to look out for him as much as possible.
Well, Lucy Luxury is one piece of work.
Oh, yeah.
Chats that I've had with him, he is one piece of work. And for those in the Twitch chat, no, Lucy Lux is not anywhere close to Worst Player.
Oh, yeah, that's more of their personality, I don't know. That's difficult to explain. You have to know both of them very well. But why I joined DM, might not ask me. I joined DM as a sergeant probably like last year, a little over a year now. I originally joined Brutal because there was a Halo 4 division, and I really don't like COD. And that's not true, because I love Black Ops, and I loved Ghost, but no one played Ghost. And everyone went from Black Ops to Black Ops 2, which is fine. I just didn't like Black Ops 2. And, I mean, I like World at War and stuff, but I didn't really like the newer ones. So when Advanced Warfare came out, I was on the Master Chief Collection. Prior to that, when Ghost came out, I was good at Ghost. I literally noob tube the shit out of people, and I think it's hilarious, because my KD is relatively good. I do good, and I don't apply myself at all. I just noob tube. And people get so angry and say it's so easy, and I always just... It boggles my mind that people think it's so easy, yet they don't do it. They're like, well, you know, I could work at this place for an hour and make $1,000, but I won't, because that's too easy. I'm going to skip it and take the hard route. So they're idiots. So I wanted to play Halo 4, and that's why I joined DM. And DM ended up being one of my favorite divisions I've been in, 'cause it's the first division I've been in a long time. But they're definitely cool shit. Absolutely loved it. And I joined under the infamous Smokey, and she's yelled at me a few times, but enjoyed every minute of being in that division.
Alright, now before we switch over to some of the Twitch questions, I have one last question here I would like to ask you, Mr. Fuzzymeep.
Yes.
This is by KSI Commander 7. He would like to know, what are some moments that you have found most rewarding in KSI?
I think a lot of those I answered as my kind of highlights, but there's definitely been definitely that SF thing. Getting my forums account, getting the forums area. But probably the most rewarding and individually rewarding to me was the first time I was really recognized for the work I put in KSI. The AAP we have currently, I helped establish with a few others like Airborne Manual. And we basically created, there was a program before that, but it hadn't run in like 2 years, so we got that going. and that was cool. And I was the senior director at the time, and I was back then we had departments. It was called, and I was the head of the. You could see in my bio, I was like the head of the Department of Interior, the Department of Justice. It hit a point where I was over courts, over clan ops, over projects in KSI. I was over a shit ton of things, and so I made the AP, and then I had pretty much reinvigorated the FTLA, which is now known as LEAD. And that's something that I'm so proud of. And a lot of people did education programs before, and I took one with a guy named Ringari, who's a cool dude. He's a school teacher. Him and Blush, who Blush was hot shit too. I loved her to death. And but Ringari taught it like a classroom, and I didn't like that. I didn't like sitting in a party one day a week for 6 weeks in a row, being preached at about KSI. The things he was teaching was good, but I just didn't really care what he was saying because it was just very dreary. You know, I imagined a blackboard, him writing, and on and us taking notes. It just sucked. So when his program shut down, because he left for whatever reason, someone else wrote the FTLA, the original one called the FTLA. And then again, his name was Valiant, and he did a wonderful job. But then he tuckered off. He didn't finish it. So 7-7, the creator, one of the creators of KSI, gave me a choice. He said, you know, do you want to do something about religion or about education? And I said, well, I really am interested in doing education. So he gave me this. I took the FTLA, I rewrote it completely, and we started it. And that program is today still going on in KSI. I mean, many different variations, different people running it over times. You know, it's not the original program, but it's the same concept of a conversation-based classroom. So it's not someone writing on a theoretical blackboard. It's someone actually talking to you, having a conversation, learning from you as much as you're learning from them, and that was really cool. I always liked that idea, and that's been, I mean, stolen and duplicated in many other communities so far, so that's definitely a cool thing. So that, plus AAP, plus running clan ops, and I had a position of over courts, but courts was like a web ops thing. And they didn't fucking let me do anything. I'd be like, well, I want to add this guy. And they'd be like, nope. I'm pretty sure it was like rags and stuff. And they were just like, nope, not doing it. I was like, all right, well, I tried. But then I got given the position of Chief Performance Officer. And that was just like, it was finally on the board. Well, a week before I got CPO, I got offered Chief Information Officer. I didn't like the idea of having that rank. Nothing wrong with that rank. Lucy holds it right now. And he does a phenomenal job. But at the time, it was people who were CIOs were like the creators, bimbos, or idiots who donated some money to KSI. It was not a dignified rank at the time. So I didn't want it. I turned it down. And then at the next week's meeting, they gave me the Chief Performance Officer rank, which is a prestigious rank. It was only held by a few, like Apollyon, Ragnarok. And basically, they were like, look, you know, you were humble enough not to take this crappy rank, so here's a better one. You deserve it. So that was like an awesome moment for me. Because, I mean, still being young, still being only 17 or 18, that was just like, hell yeah, I did it. I made it to the board of an online community, and it just felt wonderful. That was definitely like my favorite moment of my own. I guess that wouldn't be my most rewarding moment outwardly, but my inward reflection, one of my most rewarding moments. It was just the bee's knees. All right.
Okay. So I was about to say, first one that I saw that I would like to bring up real quick before anything else says. This question came from KSI Coder 45. He says, if you could go back to any point in KSI and change it, would you, or improve it, will you?
No, I wouldn't go back. I mean, everything that we've done has defined us as to who we are today, and I like who we are today. So I wouldn't go back and change anything, because you never know. You know, the theory that you step on a bee 100 years ago, that bee was going to pollinate a flower, and that flower is going to be picked for someone who was going to ask them to marry them, and, you know, and they never had kids, and the whole world just changes because of that one bee. So I wouldn't take that chance, but I don't think there's anything really in the past that I would have changed, outside of maybe... No. Nope, nothing. I definitely would have kept everything the same. Yeah, sorry.
Everything
Wish I could.
happens for a reason.
That's what I mean. I wish I could elaborate more, but there's nothing really else I could say on that. It is what it is.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Everything happens for a reason. You change something back then, you never know what could have been different now.
I got a
Exactly.
question. Right, quick. This is
Yep.
This is coming from someone in the chat. That's just saying, kind of a interesting question. Caught my eye. And it's from KSI Streets. How does it feel being like the face of KSI after coming in as a private and just out of all the years of you working through rank after rank? How does it feel today being the face of KSI and being pretty much the CEO of a big gaming community?
I think that more or less goes back to when we made this forums.org. I originally rejected the idea. It's funny because NBA started calling us fuzzy case. I don't want to be called that because in my mind we changed the websites, but everything was exactly the same as KSI prior to us switching over to the website. So it wasn't a big deal to us. It was just KSI Global. That's what we are. That's what we've been running for the last 5 years. That's where we still are. But it eventually started calling Fuzzy's case, and I hated the idea. I hated it. I would correct people. I thought it was stupid. And eventually it became such common terminology that I just gave in. It was, Bill's KSI and Fuzzy's KSI, or Ghost KSI and Fuzzy's KSI, or Big's KSI and Fuzzy's KSI. And it just, or we got called forums.org, which is fine. So originally I hated the idea, because the board has been such a team effort, and we're the longest lasting solidified leadership in KSI for, I can't even imagine when the last time it spanned 4 years, where 90% of the people are still there, and the people who left contributed a lot, well, left for different reasons, maybe got removed, but the core group we have now is so strong. So I never liked being Fuzzy's KSI. But, again, it wore on me, and eventually became a useless battle. And I even went into a party one night. I'll never forget what community it was. There was just different people, and as some of you guys know out there, I'm in school right now, so I'm less active online, but before that, I would just hop around different parties. Never really mattered. As long as the party's open, I'll go in it. So I went in there. It might have been like XGC or something. And they were like, hey, what KSI are you in? And I'm like, KSI Global. Because there was also United around for a while. They're good now. And he goes, no, are you in Fuzzy's KSI? I'm like, oh my god. This guy doesn't even are you fucking, yes, I am Fuzzy. And he's like, oh, okay, well, nice to meet you. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. God love you, but Jesus Christ.
Another question right quick, and then I'll pass it on to Giggles. And it's coming from KSI Ani7.
Yeah.
What is some advice that you would give to a newer KSI member?
Join up, fill up your friends list, see if you like the place. If you like the place, just make some friends. Start hanging out, maybe change your name, figure out what you want to do. If you want a game and you want 100 friends at all times, you want to be able to get online and say, hey, anyone online? My friends are all a-holes and they go to bed at 7. And you find someone to play with? Awesome. If that's what you want to do? Perfect. Stay as a sergeant, stay as a private corporal. Wonderful. We love you. If you want to move up in the ranks, goes back to a lot of the things I said earlier. And you want to move up, talk to your elders in KSI. Talk to people, get on the forums, and expand out. If you want to start moving up in KSI, the best way you can do it is going on the forums, working on projects there, just getting to know people and taking all small tidbits of advice that you can. People who have mentored me, I mentioned little sentences they said to me at one point or another. And it's not like they repeated that many times. They just said it in passing, and it took effect on me. So, yeah, my advice would be find some people you like to hang out with and hang out with them. Where it goes from there, it's your ball to run with. But we're here. We sell a friends list to join KSI. Why do you want to join? Because we get 100 friends. That's what people need to join for, the game. If you're joining to be a leader of the community, you're joining for the wrong reasons. You need to join to be a part of the community and then lead your peers.
Okay, so here's a question that you are more than free to pass, but Apaka Waka would like to know, what's your biggest regret in your time here?
Or if it's Lucy, our worst player.
I don't.
Or even
I don't know.
Robinson.
So not Hero Illusion.
I mean,
said, if it's me, I understand.
Going back, there's been a lot of people that I've promoted and really had faith in and spent a lot of time and effort with, like, hoping they would accomplish something. And I'm notorious for getting burned with people I spent an incredible amount of time helping teach. And I don't know if I'd necessarily change helping them, but probably change the time frames that I spent helping them. Because there was literally people I've known for years that just, like, up one day and just been like, well, I'm just going to take my ball and go home because someone pissed me off and I don't want to talk about it. That always irked me. But as far as regrets, I can't say I don't have any. I'm sure if I thought hard enough, I definitely would have some stronger regrets than that. But, I mean, I met a guy once through KSI. Well, that sounded really fucked up. Me and my brother, who were on, like, a team together with this guy who went undefeated for a long time. I wasn't on the team. I just played with them sometimes. We went and hang out with him because he was sick. He was dying, yada, yada, yada. He was in a wheelchair. He was a good gamer, cool dude, long-time member KSI. We went to his house to hang out, and we get there, and the dude talked about it fucked up things. First off, he walked outside because he's not in a wheelchair. He lives in the second floor of his house. He also said he didn't live with his parents. His parents clearly owned the house because they were there. And just crazy shit. And looking back on it, I don't regret it because it was a fun time. But that dude definitely could have, like, murdered us and cut our bodies up into pieces. So looking back on it, I probably wouldn't do that again, just meet a stranger. But it was fun when we were up there.
I have one right quick.
And Apaka Waka is something special right now. Go for it, Hulkster.
Let me find it. There we go. This question is actually coming from, well, it says Izzy, but it says KSI on 7. Is there anything that Fuzzy feel like to accomplish in KSI?
Nothing personally. I mean, I'd like the idea of me being the first head of KSI to then step down and intermingle with KSI and be around after that. That's not true. Deadmeat did that, but usually the person or like the full point or the quote-unquote face of KSI is getting removed viciously or blacklisted or something terrible. And it hasn't been many people, but there's enough that it's weird. So I'd like to be the first one that maybe just steps down to like CIO one day or steps down to just a sergeant and an admin and just hang out, you know, a couple years down the line. But that's not really, I guess that's my only personal accomplishment I'm looking forward to is really the last thing I have to do in KSI. My accomplishment I would love to see KSI do is go to an MLG event together, or really just anywhere together. Just a group of us. It wouldn't even matter if there's a couple of us or 50 of us. MLG, something like that. Just hang out. You know, again, you know, back to the last story. I hope, you know, someone doesn't cut someone else up and fucking feed them to the pigs or something, Hannibal Lecter style. But I would like to meet and greet with a lot of these people and just hang out and shoot the shit and have a few beers and maybe be somewhere where there's a pool or whatever, something that's not my bedroom or my living room. That'd be definitely cool. And if we did MLG, that'd be sweet to get a pro team out there and whatever, win, lose, it'd still be a good time. You know, money's always a factor. I'm a struggling student. Everyone's poor nowadays. It doesn't matter. So maybe sponsorships coming somewhere for that. I don't know, but I would definitely like to get a group of us together just to be together. It'd be cool to hold a board meeting at a table.
Or a KSI convention.
A KSI convention, you know. I mean, that sounds a little cheesy. More be like a KSI bar hop, but or a bar or pub crawl. But either way, Bar bonfire. Sounds good to me, you know. Hey, fuck, we could all just go camping. That's real cheap to go camping.
Whatever happens,
But
you're inviting me even if I'm not on the board.
that's what I mean, yeah. It'd be something, you know, we'd have to invite people. But that would be like the goal for me in KSI. And for KSI, just to keep going. Maybe beyond the day that all the board members currently and all the admins currently are gone, forgotten with, like a lot of the members from 10, 15, or 10, 12 years ago. Not many names are known anymore, but what they created is still established today. I think it'd be cool to come around when I get some kids one day, or maybe I'm just alone and miserable in a small studio apartment, and I go, oh, I used to run KSI, and I look like the guy playing World of Warcraft in South Park. And I look up, and it's still going, and it's still got people, and just the whole community's changed, but it's still the same. I think that'd be real neat. It's 9, but we can keep going with questions. We started late, but we can keep going for a bit more. I'm got no problem with that.
Or if you want to take a break or anything like that, you just let us
This is
know.
something I messaged you about before. Private message on the forums.
Yep.
Jake PM has asked the same thing. It's without my eye, and it says, "Do you still play with other KSI members or participate in game nights?"
Yeah. I don't think I've been nearly as active as I have been before, and I wouldn't say game nights. Every once in a while, I'll pop in like a Master Chief Collection game night, but I play SWAT. That's my game. I love SWAT, and I generally only play that when I'm online. But I do spend a lot of time in different parties, different people, and I'll bounce around. And if I'm online, I'll talk to anyone who needs to talk. It's definitely lessened now because I'm in paramedic school. I do like clinicals at the hospital. I work full time. But once that's over, in about 5 months, I'll be done. I'll be on a lot longer. So I definitely do still go around, and I'd say definitely more in parties than actual game nights and stuff. But I'm around. And if any of you guys are good at SWAT, and when I mean good at SWAT, like really good at SWAT, you're not going negative every game, feel free to hit me up on the Xbox One. I always need a team. I generally play Lone Wolf, and I get the people on my team who, you know, have negative 2 by the end of the game. Then literally got no kills the whole time, just killed themselves a couple times, and it just drives me up a fucking wall.
According to Lucy Lux, you are going to suffer for comparing him to worse.
Oh, that sounds like something worse would say.
That was pretty much everybody else.
I have a question. Quite a funny question, but I keep seeing Huckleberry and Cheddar Bob and all of them in the chat talking about that they're your favorite. So I'm gonna put them on blast. So who is your favorite singer director?
Who'd you say was saying that?
No favoritism. No favoritism.
Cheddar Bob, and I know I've seen Cheddar Bob say something about that he was your favorite. So
Huck did too?
If I remember right. So
okay, then definitely Greg. If them two said 100% Greg. No question about it. No, but all 3 guys, they're awesome. They work together at the same level and capacity that any of the other senior leaders work together, and they're just definitely the shit. They keep KSI rolling.
Okay, another question, quick question.
Yeah.
I know we have a lot of Marines in KSI, and this is a question that I'm seeing. Who is your favorite Marine in KSI?
God, not airborne.
Well,
no.
I mean, it is funny because he keeps asking that question for us to ask you that, so I asked it.
I don't know. I've never seen any of the Marines actually in combat. Based off leadership, definitely not airborne.
This is a question from myself about that, about the military services in general. What do you think upon in the I can't find words right now. People in the military that are in KSI. Do you think that, like, what I've noticed is that people, when they go on their leave, they pretty much, if they're like a general, they're pretty much dropping their rank for it. What about when they come back? They've earned it. They just went and did something positive and good for the country.
That's something tricky. We absolutely do our best to give them their old rank. You know, if someone quits and comes back a bit outside of like a 24-hour period, we generally don't give them shit. All right, thanks. You know, good job. Back to sergeant. Thanks for letting your emotions overrule you. But if you leave as a ranking member and you're going to the military, anything in the military, you're going to the fire academy, police academy, you're doing anything that you'll be gone for a couple months, but it's to better yourself. And it's about college, but college is a lot longer, and you have, you know, time to actually game. Probably not a lot of time, but it's a little different. But definitely military, paramilitary, we do our best to give you your old rank. Now, general, it's a little difficult because, you know, Miss Giggles, you leave today as a general. The squad loves you. They fucking adore you. You're gone 6 months, though. You come back, that division has the same name, squad has the same name, but the members are different. To put you as a general, it's kind of shit on the people below you. And, you know, well, you guys are doing a great job, and you've been running this for 6 months, but she was here 6 months ago and left for the military, so now she's going to be in charge when she finally gets back and is free to do whatever she wants. So we would try not to do that, but you probably, if someone left as general, we're not going to demote people to put this person up, but I'd love for them to at least be captain, no question about it. Or, you know, if they leave as a division leader, I wouldn't even mind them coming back as a co-founder, founder, depending on what's going on in the division. But it's a little tricky. I don't want them to come back as a sergeant. If they choose to, that's different, and maybe some circumstances they have to. But most of the time, if they earned a rank, we want them to have that rank. Or, God forbid, they do start as a sergeant, because every rank's full, they're not going to be in the time constraints. You know, to be a general, you have to be in KSI for, like, I don't know, 12 weeks. I don't bother memorizing things that I can look up, but I know it's a certain time figure. I think it's 12 weeks. But you've already been in KSI for over 12 weeks. So we're not going to wait.
On the branch and then what you're getting yourself.
Yeah. But we're not going to. You've been in KSI for that amount of time period. If you've been in KSI for a year and been a division leader and come back as a sergeant after you've been off the military, we're not going to sit there and say, well, you need to be a sergeant for a few weeks and then a lieutenant for a few weeks. If there's some room to grow and, you know, obviously they need a captain and they don't have lieutenants already, and you're a sergeant, but you can be a captain because you've had the time and you know what you're doing, move you right up. No question about it. I think some divisions are a little scared on that idea, but the time requirements are there for knowledge and experience. Obviously getting to know your squad too, but they shouldn't hold people back. They should benefit people. So, I mean, at least it's very tough. It's very situational based.
Okay.
Very interesting to know. I asked that from personally and for others.
Yeah.
Any other questions that you have?
I actually saw a cool question on here. I wish I could find it. I wish it didn't scoot me back to the bottom every time someone posted.
Yeah, I know. I hate that myself. I was having a hard time finding the one that I was
Yeah. God damn. Oh, it was a good question, too. I thought it was real neat, but we were answering something else.
I have one question while you're finding that.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen to KSI whenever Xbox goes away with the servers for 360 and stops making games for 360?
We'll be on the one.
Okay.
I'm not worried about that. When they went from Xbox to 360, literally KSI was on the Xbox One. I mean the original Xbox, not the, whatever. Until the very last minute of the very last day with Halo 2 squads that were diehard. And we were gaming the last night in Halo 2. And then the server shut down, and then there was no more Halo 2. Everyone was on Halo 3, COD 4, stuff like that. And the same thing will happen. Granted, I don't think 360 was shut down for quite a bit of time. But when it does, we'll be on the one. Maybe the PlayStation, PC, I don't know. I don't personally play those, so it's difficult for me to say, yeah, well, we'll have a bunch of people there, because I'm not going to be there, so I don't want to talk for people. But definitely we're just going to be on the one. And I think I like it. And the question I was reading, the one that I liked, I found it again. It was, how do you think, something about how KSI affects people being leaders in real life. And I just wanted to mention that KSI has had such a tremendous effect on my, I wouldn't say leadership, but leading capabilities, that it's absolutely unreal. When I joined KSI, I was also part of the fire department as an explorer, which is like a junior program for the fire department. And within being in KSI for a year, I ended up becoming the head of that little program. And, you know, and then I knew how to recruit. So I was bringing other people into the fire explorers, and I could recruit them in, you know, just the same as KSI. And I could lead them in a way just like that. And then when I was 20 years old, I was offered a spot for lieutenant in my fire department. But I was working third shift at the time, and I turned it down. And then another time, or actually beginning of this year, I wasn't offered the job, but I was offered a nomination to get voted on, or voted up to that rank. And again, I turned it down. I'm in medic school. I don't want to be a guy who's, you know, would take the job but not going to be there. But I know I would have never gotten that nod from the officers on my department if I was a KSI. There's no way I would have the coping mechanisms or the relationships I can grow with people, or even just being able to argue with someone effectively, which is like my favorite thing to do in KSI. Literally, if any of you guys ever, like, you know, hit KSI, want to be malicious, or just have a really big argument with KSI, we can sit there and argue for hours if I think that KSI is in the right and you're in the wrong, and I will pick apart your story. And if you're in the right, I'll be the first to tell you. But it's like investigative skills, and I love it. But that is definitely, it's helped me so much in the fire service, and I hope it helps other people. I bumped into a guy in Walmart literally fucking years ago. I had gotten a KSI t-shirt, and I was wearing it. Old school logo, it was like '09, and someone just mentioned, like, hey, I was in KSI, you know, they helped me a lot. I used to love, he said he was like a general or something, or a co-founder, and whatever, he just said it helped him a lot. It was like a minute, and it was kind of weird, but like, it was less weird because he was so happy to see someone wearing that shirt that it just blew him out, and he needed to talk about it. And he gave me his gamer tag, and whatever, we like played once. I never really talked to him, but just for that impact, just seeing someone seeing the logo and saying, God damn, I was in KSI, and it helped me out a ton, and I loved it. This is just a very cool thing. So I hope it helps people in real life, and the people who join the military and stuff like that. I hope it helps them learn how to work together as a team, make better decisions, don't scream and yell, whatever. So, definitely, I mean, they're lessons. It doesn't matter what you're a part of. This is no different than being part of a leadership of a hockey team or something. You know, it just gives you that ground and that basis for teamwork and camaraderie and working together to a common goal. And it definitely applies literally everywhere. Huh? Hold on. Did you say me?
Oh, here we go.
No,
Okay.
Giggles.
Oh.
Last question
All right.
from Illusion7 himself. Are you excited about a weekly update coming back?
Oh, yeah. I think that's awesome. I know people got bummed out last time because as it went on, some people stopped watching as much. But I think that's the coolest thing. Just get an update on KSI, a stream, you know, 45 minutes, an hour long, sometimes shorter, sometimes longer. I think that's wicked cool, just to be out there, just to let everyone know who wants to watch or go back and view it, just what's going on with the week, what's going on in the future, you know, what's coming up, what's going to happen. You know, I don't even care if people want to go in there and say, well, these two things happen in KSI and nothing else, so we're going to talk about Game of Thrones or The Walking Dead and what happened there this week, because we got nothing for KSI. You guys have been excellent, or you've been dead, or whatever. But I think it's very cool to get it on and get some new faces on there, and it definitely helps you interact with people. And I mean, now I've talked for over an hour now, and some people know me a little better, and some people know, you know, Giggles and Hulkster a little better, and they know Illusion's deaf and mute. And so it might be easier for them to come up to us and talk to us. And I think that just benefits it 100%, and especially where a lot of the people on the weekly update are leaders of KSI. Whether you're a division leader, co-div, director, senior, board member, whatever. Sometimes you don't feel approachable. Even in this conversation, Miss Giggles said, well, this is, you know, I got a little butterflies in my tummy because it's a little weird talking to the CEO in my first big interview in KSI. And me and Miss Giggles know each other maybe, you know, through computers and technology, but we haven't really talked that much. But hopefully after an interview like this, I'm more approachable now because people don't realize that I'm not some crazy. That's what I mean. I'm exactly the same, and just like every other leader in KSI is exactly the same as everyone else. We're all just gamers. Some people have a little more knowledge about some stuff, some have less. We're all just gamers at the end of the day, and I hope that definitely helps people. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to game with you and you think, wow, Fuzzy's so professional, and then I start screaming and cussing because one of my teammates accidentally betrayed me. I was, you know, one away from a killing frenzy or something. I would hate to get you off guard to make you think that I'm not a gamer or someone else isn't. We all are. We're all exactly the same. We were all in your shoes or someone else's shoes at one point or another. And when I first joined, I thought I wasn't even allowed to talk in a senior director's party. I know they deserve respect, but at that time, I was like a general. I was asking for a division transfer, and I wasn't allowed to talk to the senior director. I went in there with my co-founder, or the co-founder of the squad I wanted to go to, and he talked for me because I wasn't a high enough rank. And I thought, this is the most absurd thing in the world, and I feared this guy, Hippo, because he was a senior over, and I was just, like, perplexed by him. And then I met him, and he was a wicked cool dude. We ended up hanging out all the time. He ended up being my senior when I was a director, and he's also one of my mentors. He taught me just to chill the fuck out on KSI and just relax. And he was very laid-back dude. I think he was high most of the time, but very calm and relaxed. But you know, when I first met him, I was like, oh my god, you have a fucking flying eagle in your emblem on Halo? I can't talk to you. That's insane. I got a guy with a crown. So it's absurd. That's not how it should be. Granted, I also don't want someone coming to the party and being like, hey, fuzzy motherfucker, how you doing? And they're like, oh, I don't even know you, and that's weird. Because obviously, everyone, you know, you need personal interaction. But, yeah, I definitely think, wow, I just went way off base from weekly update. But that's what I love about the weekly update.
That is perfectly.
I got one little question, which will be my last question.
All right.
What
is
is
the
your
last question, though, Hulkster? We're trying to close up for the night.
Perfect.
Okay.
So what do you got for the last one?
in KSI Streets? What is your favorite whiskey?
Jameson. Absolutely no doubt in my mind. Jameson. If I want to get... Jameson, however, has its demons because when I drink Jameson, like, I drink Jameson. I can get Taylor Jerry's or Jack or something and sip on it. If I get a bottle of Jameson, I'm going to have an empty bottle of Jameson in the morning, and it's like my only not-so-good alcohol, but it's also my absolute favorite. I think I've gotten better with it in the years, but it's definitely hands down the best drink you're going to get. Just throw a little bit of ice. It's perfect. It's beautiful.